Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode 139 of the Lumber Word. It is the 17th of September because housing starts came out this morning, which we'll talk about in a minute. First of all, Greg, great wedding this weekend in the Hamptons. I had a room right next to all the groomsmen.
Yeah,
and
you
my
had a baller room, Ash.
my wife said
That was the best spot over there.
My
For
wife
sure.
said, "Who in the hell is next door to us?" And I'm like, "It's all the boys." And
Those guys, all those BC boys were like awesome.
Brandon wanted me to give him a shout out on this podcast because he said he listens to it all the time. So Greg's
Ash was
new,
kind of a star there. Like I'd introduce him, he goes, "Oh, you're the lumber word guy." And then Ash was like, "What? How do you know that?"
yeah. My wife was like, "Why do they think that that's very important?"
What did she say?
She basically was wondering why everybody was saying about the podcast. But Greg's new son-in-law, great family. Brandon, shout out to you. Congratulations, you and Jenna. That was a great weekend. I'm still recovering from it. I felt like I've been at three weddings.
Yeah, I'm. It's going to take me a few more days for sure. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
Charles, I'll send you the after party video. It was.
I can only imagine.
It was off the hook. It was. I mean, especially for an old guy like me.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, you were ready to go. I guarantee it.
It was
You did another Irish goodbye. You just disappeared. Exit stage left.
Ashley goes, "Did you do a touch and go?" I go, "I was in there for about 45 minutes. Let everybody know that I'd been there, and then poof, they never knew that I was gone.
Gone like the wind."
Yeah, I wish I would have done the same thing, but
some stellar accommodations, though, Greg. Huh?
I stuck around.
It was Montauk, New York. Yeah, it was nice. It was really nice.
That's first class, man.
It was nice. It was a good time. A lot of rosé.
What?
It's a drink of choice out there.
Ash, really? Do you want to break it to the audience now? Or you want to save that? What do you want to do?
Yeah. So, kind of thinking about going through how we want to add value to this podcast. What we have come up and decided we're going to do, and I think it's the right thing to do. Everybody can still sign into Spotify, Apple, whatever you listen to on your podcast. The day after we do this, we usually release at 6 a.m. On the following on Thursday morning, after we do it we try to record every day, 12 Central on Wednesdays. We are going to go to Vimeo, which everybody can go to, and anybody that wants to watch the live version of this, like we're doing right now, this week's will still be available. They can go into Vimeo and sign up for it, and we're going to do a monthly service, a paid service to listen to it live. A couple reasons that we're going to do that. We give away a lot of information on here, and you're going to get it tomorrow for free, but we're going to charge.
It's going to be a trading edge. I mean, for some, sometimes we give away information that's time sensitive, and people that want to have it like ahead of time, we'll pay for it. That's all.
People are going to say, Ashley, that's not right. You shouldn't charge for it. And like I said, tomorrow you can sign on and let's do it free for as long as you want. But when we do it live, we're going to add a little bit more content live for people that want to do it live and more interaction live. And
we just finished. Our guy just finished building the whole Southern Pine basis workbook, tying all of the pine items to East Side 2x4. Run the regression analysis. So we're gonna have some juicy stuff for pine traders. That's for sure. Because I mean, my opinion is that hedging pine with the spruce U.S. West has become less valuable, less predictable in terms of how that basis works.
It's like a goat rodeo trying to hedge.
They operate conversely now, whereas they used to run together. Honestly.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be great, and and hopefully that's also going to allow us to build some more volume in the pine contract. That's the goal. That's part of our goal also.
Yeah, and I'll put out on social media, on LinkedIn, X, some other places, how you sign up on Vimeo, and I hope you enjoy doing it. And like I said, you'll probably spend more in a week on a cup of coffee at your local Starbucks or wherever you go to than you will for this. And
well, I know I spend more on my Marquee Sports Network to watch the Cubs than we're going to be charging. That's for sure.
Yeah,
and they're probably going to win the World Series. So
I guess the thing is, we just have to decide: do we want to do it monthly, or do you want to do it for a yearly thing?
It's going to be monthly. Cancel anytime. That's the way to do it.
And the other reason is we have a lot of costs involved in all the software we run and editing it, and we want to cover some of those.
Dave's listening, by the way. So your bill just went up.
There you go. Well, let's jump into the market. So, talking about the wedding last week, I left Thursday morning, landed, and Dan Ziegler, I'll be signing up for sure. Love the live version. Dan, appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I'll make sure
the live version honestly gives a lot more zest to what's really going on than sitting in your car listening to it while you're driving down the interstate. I mean, 110%, because you can really understand where we're coming from. I mean, face to face, it's just like why Zoom and Teams calls are so important nowadays.
Yeah, a lot of people, one of the things we went to this podcast is this isn't an evergreen podcast, right? Like literally when we say something, it could change 5 seconds later, right? We're not talking about the history of the Civil War. We're talking about
although I hear the guys that do that podcast are pretty cool.
They are.
Right?
They are. Or how to plant perennials or annuals around your house.
Do you want to talk about housing starts, Ash?
Well, first, I want to talk about the market because I landed on Thursday, and all of a sudden everything. We talked in the podcast last week, and Stinson mentioned the people that have to come out and say something are Wes Frazier, and lo and behold, after the podcast on Wednesday, Thursday, Wes Frazier, what did they actually say? Like they're going to a 4-day potential
4-day work weeks on all their Canadian mills is the way I understand it. But y'all would know more about that than I would.
And then we're going to fold into housing because Greg came in and said, "Hey, do you got a handle on what the current production rates are in North America?" I'm like, "We haven't looked at that in a while."
Maybe we'll get Russ on next week and have that. That'd be kind of good stuff. Housing starts came out this morning, and I've had several people go, "Oh boy, housing starts there. That's really really bad." And I went, "Well, I mean,
what was the number? The number.
So
what was
the number was 1.3. Permits were 1.3. Those were both down the prior months, which were revised higher. So here's the number that matters to me, and we've talked about this. So year-to-date housing starts they're actually up 0.7%. So we're flat on the year through 8 months, which anyone that's listened to the podcast for the last year, basically that's what we've been predicting, that we were going to be, at best, we're going to be flat on a demand side. The interesting thing, and just to dig in that, single family down 4.9 year to date, and multifamily up 17.5, and that was after last year multifamily being down 40% from the prior year. Permits are a little bit lower, mostly because of multifamily. No, take that back. Year to date, 7% on single family, minus 1% on multifamily, other way around. But the big number that I looked at was completions. at 1.6 million. I mean, that's a big number, which said that what they were doing in August was finishing stuff up, not starting that much new stuff. So the more stuff in the pipeline that gets finished, then the next thing, you use a lot less lumber when you're finishing something to complete it than when you start off, right?
Yeah. How is that completions number, Greg, on a historic?
Well, I mean, the interesting thing is because completions were off the charts last year. At last year annually we did over 1.6 million, and this year we're on a pace to do slightly less than that, down 6%.
Okay.
So the question that I was having is, if new home construction is flat year to date, 8 months, repair remodeling you would estimate to be flat-ish, because it kind of tracks with GDP, and GDP is up 1.2%. So then my question is, what is production?
That's the real question.
And I had an interesting call yesterday talking to an Eastern mill that said, Greg, we usually make 16 to 17 million board feet a week. Our current run rate, 5 million a week. We're making the bare minimum lumber that we can possibly make, satisfy contracts, and that's with no quote unquote announced curtailment. And so I'm just trying to think, is like over the next 30 days,
1.6 or 16 million a week.
16
No,
16
16
17
they're
million a
running
week.
16 million board foot a week, and they cut back to 5, so they're running at 30%.
30%. You're running at 30%. So I'm just trying to think, like over the next, how much more of that is there? How much more curtailment is there? Because you think about curtailing now is not, that's a last resort. I mean, none of us want that to happen to any of the employees. I don't have Matt here to do this, so I'll do it for him. These people work in small towns, and this affects communities, right? I mean, and Matt, Matt's the guy. Of the three of us, he has the most empathy, right?
What is empathy?
Charles nodding his head. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Unapologetically agreeing, yes. Unapologetically agreeing.
I've been told I lack it multiple places.
I can name the because I'm probably the same boat.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about the Southern Yellow Pine market, Charles?
I mean, it's lethargic. I mean, there's no reason. Nobody has any urgency, right? And I mean, you talk about mills and Eastern mills, producing at 30%, and people still talking about wood that's still in reloads left over from the tariff debacle, right? And then I hear whispers that 232 is actually going to happen. I'm just telling you what I heard.
Yeah. I hear.
And there's no real rush or sense of urgency to do anything. I mean, we're jobs are mixing trucks of studs. They're not buying, additional straight trucks. They're buying for this week and maybe half of next week, and then stepping into the market again because they have no reason to buy any more than they absolutely can ship. And then you got mills that Central East Side price discrepancies when this thing got real down and dirty a couple of weeks ago they were huge. So there's a lot of people that have a lot of wood just sitting around, and the takeaway, the demand side, we can talk about completions, we can talk about permits, we can talk about all these things, right? But I don't think, a mill's quietly doing what they're doing, right, for lack of a better way to describe it, is going to have an effect until demand changes. And I hate to say that because we've said it for 2 years, right? Supply, pull, push, however you want to describe it, market, where it's very difficult to trade and track. So volatility is going to be huge because some announcement is going to make everybody emotional in this business, as it always does. But there's something that's got to change. And I don't know if the FOMC is going to follow suit with the Bank of Canada or anybody else and actually cut rates to where we can solve that affordability problem.
We're going to get a cut today, and I'd be like the talking heads are like quarter, half, blah blah blah. I think realistically, given we had Westbury on a few weeks ago, and given where things are, like whether it's a quarter or a half this time, by Q1 of next year, we're probably going to be looking at a 3% or less Fed funds rate. That having been said, I don't know that the healthy thing in the market would be that the 10-year would be at, somewhere slightly below or above 4%, which is where it is right now. You may get some compression on mortgage rates where you got mortgage rates in the mid to low 5% range. One of the biggest things I look at is, hey, over the next 6 months, my cost to carry inventory is going to drop by 25 or 30%. 100%. That's a big deal. That's a lot of money, right?
Yep.
And if it drops for me, it drops for you, it drops for the whole ecosystem.
But how much? Okay, so we talk about that and the cost to carry and the cost of inventory. What about mills hiding wood in VMI programs that guys aren't paying for until it's actually used? That's more of a y'all thing than it is an us thing. So, what implications or impacts does that have or could have?
Charles, I look at that and I go, it's like a rounding error. It doesn't help. It doesn't help mills as much as they think, because it's the same thing with all of the contracts where you have no price discovery. That doesn't give you the right input into what the market really is. The less product that's involved in price discovery, the more misallocation you have, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, you have a skewed perspective. I was asking from our customer base scenario, right? I don't think it's a positive for a mill because they get into a situation where they get fat and happy and comfortable, right? I had a conversation with a couple guys that increased their contracts last year. Historically, they were at 25% for mills, and they jumped up to 60%. And I don't understand
end user, you're saying?
Yeah, end user. And I don't understand
what are they going to do next year?
They're going to drop them.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, because there's no reason to and that's my question, right? Because from a VMI perspective, and you think about the supply chain, once again, not a truck market, a car market, time, from point A to point B to yard, those VMI programs, are they really hiding as much wood as people say they are? Is that preventing end users from getting in the market the way they should? Like, what implications are we hypothesizing that has on a market as a broad stroke? That's really what I'm trying to ask.
My opinion would be it has less overall impact in the aggregate over the long term. In the short term, when speaking from our company, not Ashley and I, but others in it that have some VMI with Canadians that they pounded the wood in June and July, and instead of like if our VMI was for 2 a month, we got 10, right? So and I think that may be part of what is impacting the market, and what's impacted the market August and still today is how much extra was put in front of the change in the duty rates, and until that gets burned off, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the question, right?
And then how much is going to get restocked at today's prices? You look at today's prices. We talked about this. There is no way that Canfor can run at today's prices a substantive amount of volume. The losses are just too large.
Yep.
If West Fraser says they're curtailing 20%, that would imply that Canfor should curtail like 40 or 50%.
Sure. My thought on VMI, Charles, Greg, is mills have been talking about how hard it is to make money, how hard it is to move inventory. So I guess you have to think about, are you are you doing if you're doing a VMI program, it's not to make money, it's to move inventory. Or it's to satisfy a customer. So let's talk about that. If you're sending a VMI to satisfy a customer, in my opinion, from VMIs, what I've seen is they're so one-sided to the customer that you're going to satisfy the customer and not make any money, in a way, because they're all loaded where all of a sudden, guess what? The market starts to move. Nobody needed anything for 3 weeks, and all of a sudden they need 80% of their allocation for the month in 1 week. It makes no sense to me. If I was a mill setting up a VMI, I would even it out. I would take out all those things and say, you want a VMI, you're taking an even amount of money or even amount of inventory every week at this price. And if you can't take it, we're gonna charge you interest and storage and a penalty. Well, Ashley, a penalty is really bad. A customer won't do it. Well, guess what? You know what? A mill, there used to be a big mill that they took the best order every day to the customers that paid the most. Their cash flow was faster, their return was faster, and they were the best returning mill every year. If you go out to the open market, you're going to make more money as a mill, in my opinion, than you are by putting a whole bunch of wood on the ground for a VMI, because you had a couple scotches with a guy that you've known for 30 years and he needs to go back to his guys and lock down a VMI program. If you need a friend, get a dog, right?
We're breaking all kinds of.
No, I'm saying it's like I don't want to. I don't like hearing about how people don't make money when they continually set up deals that are so one-sided. They're setting it up from the get-go to not make money.
I agree 110%. And to what you said, Greg, that short-term perspective is really what I think everybody's keying on, right? We've been talking about Q1 since May, right? And, we're at a point to where we've got to look at things from a 30 to 45 day window because all of our end users and consumers are doing the same, right? And we can project these things out further to Q1, Q2 of 26. And those glass half full silver linings, yeah, we're in a really shitty spot, so it should be better. Yes, I agree 110%. But how do we get past that? And I think those hard conversations, just like what you described, Ash, right? If you need a friend, get a dog. Yeah. Like we need to find a better way to do it.
Well,
price discovery is the number one way to do it.
I think 100%. There's some items that probably works better on. There's a large Southern Pine mill that has corralled a bunch of customers and trust customers because they have high grade MSRs, select structural stuff that goes into trusses that they just want to keep that stuff shipping, and they probably set up a decent thing with a huge adder. I don't even know how that is. But when somebody just says VMI to me, I don't know what they mean unless I look at the details of the contract. They're all so different, but the nature of them all seem very one-sided to me, and homie, don't play that game.
So since we're going behind the paywall next week, Ash, should we hold off on giving a lot of really, tasty, really good trading insights this week, or should we just let everybody know that they're going to still get this high quality stuff? What do you think?
Let's talk about it. When I looked at Pine, when I looked at all the basis, the hedge, and the relative value charts last week or yesterday, a couple things jumped out at me. First of all, when I looked at the just the Pine composite, it's as low as it gets relative value for 3 years, 5 years, it's just low. 2x6 has made its move as one of the higher valued items, getting to be overvalued relative to its market basket.
See, but that gets skewed a little bit in that, down here at the bottom, all the prices compress. And so when you compare, over the last 3, 4, or 5 years, at higher prices, the spreads between 2x4 and the other items kind of skew. So, my point would be, I'd say, hey, 2x6 is probably just an outright buy. It's not a hedge buy.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a consume buy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like what stuck out, Ash, when you and I looked at those 2x12. I mean, it's 2x12. And interesting, the only thing that was up on a midweek print, 2x12.
Yeah. 5-quarter decking. Anything in wides, especially 18s and 20s. Again, you got to have liquidity on them, but they have, and as Greg said yesterday, look at some of these items are $200 undervalued relative to the hedge. And absolute, they have big discounts. Well, the minute the market does move, those items realize their profit, right? You just have to figure out how long that takes. And hey, thanks to the person we mentioned on the podcast last week about how we used to have a chart for all the different species and what their fiber, stress and bending, modules, elasticity, what you could replace with what. One of our listeners, 2 of them, sent me over the actual Excel chart of that after they heard the podcast. So I appreciate that. And thank you. But
so,
yeah.
I mean, one of my things right here is we're probably overall, all of the markets are beginning the process of bottoming out. And to Charles, to your point, it's a question, is this going to be an L bottom, a U bottom? It is not a V bottom. Unless something miraculously happens and, demand increases 15 or 20% going into seasonally where it normally goes down. But, like I had this conversation, I said, there's a lot of prices today that no matter what happens in Q1, they're going to be worth more than they are today. Now,
100%.
So middle of September, like how does that manifest itself over the next, 2, 3, 6, 8 weeks? I mean, can you wait until Thanksgiving to start to, buy some value items and maybe, increase some inventory? Maybe, right? Depending. I think that, Charles, to your mind, that's my thing is where's the window over the next, 6 to 10 weeks where, if you had one shot, would you take it?
Just like Greg, I'll tell you what you said. Here's a little thing that I probably should have waited behind the paywall, but it will run out of its time value here. I heard Greg talking to a guy the other day, a customer, and saying, hey, this is, even if I don't sell you, you should probably go out and start picking up some deals. And he came in the office, he goes, or I heard, maybe you said it out loud, like, no, if he buys them all, I won't be able to get a lot of them then. Like, so
shout out to him. I hope he's listening today.
Yeah. It was like, so I think what you were saying is what you just said is right now, maybe a good opportunity to pick up a few things, talking to a couple people that have been, out, instead of cruising timber, cruising distribution and retail yards where they know inventories are at, and flew some drones over them. Historically, he said they were very low compared to what they normally are. And I was talking to Greg about it. He said, he goes, some of those yards, I've got the people I've sold lumber to them asking where orders that they took yesterday, where the truck is. So I guess, Charles, you think a lot of these people are a lot of consumers, and let's just look at the markets that we sell that normally carry an inventory. I think they're running about as low of days of inventory as they normally have. Now, they bought a little bit in last week. We had a little bit of a bump, but I don't think anybody's fat, PHATT, with inventory.
I don't either. I think everybody's going hand to mouth because there's no reason to buy more than you need, right? I mean,
until there is.
No, I agree with you, but you've also got to get through 1 million, jobless claims, like the interest rate reductions.
I thought we got rid of that person that was given the bogus job as claims up.
No, because we just redid it and it was 911,000.
Yeah.
So now we have real numbers because the government's not hiring everybody to work from home to fill out widgets.
Yeah. So we had this question. I was talking about housing starts. It's such a highly revised number. I mean, Yeah, when you go back, it's
The
probably
data's so foggy. Honestly,
yeah.
the data's so foggy.
The adjustments to it, but like year over year, it kind of gives you a bottom line, right? I mean,
A trend. Yeah.
Like I said, we're flat on that demand side. Repair and modeling, probably relatively flat. So, it's like the market's always looking to find where equilibrium is. And typically what happens is we overshoot on both sides. We clearly overshot on prices in front of Trump tariffs, increases in CVD and AD. And, now for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Are we there yet? Or do we need to do more? I mean, I think the expiration of September futures gave us a vision into Christmas future, right? Oh, by the way, Ash, great opportunity, right? So with all the wedding stuff, we ended up going off short a bunch of Septembers, and so for any of our listeners out there that may have longs or know people that have longs, a great opportunity for maybe some other things other than EFPing with the guy that does all the rest of them.
Whoa! There's other people that do it, Greg.
Huh?
There's other people that do it. You just got to find them. You got to look under the right rock.
But I'm saying is have gone off short September. So we got lots of options for Eastern Cars, Straight Links, Euro Lumber. So reach out and touch someone.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Rate cut. What's the rate? What time's the rate cut supposedly coming out at? I think it did, right?
1 o'clock, half an hour from now.
Half an hour from now. Just real quick, let's go back to talk about just spruce and Euro again. Less and less Euro coming over. I talked to a few of the Euro mills this morning that put wood on the ground, kind of holes in some inventory. We're not going to get another vessel dimension down in the Cape until a month and a half from now. And
I'm thinking mid-November.
We're just about sold out of everything there, except for some 2x6 12s and 14s and 2x10 16s we want to move. So we have less of that. Eastern spruce, we had a bump up last week in at least the low trade price was out. Board rallied, and I mean, are we still down this morning on futures? It looks like we kind of reversed the last few days. How much, Charles?
350.
Okay. What's the Eastern market doing for trade wise now? I mean, are they firmed up? Are they still looking for things?
People are dealing with things that are right in front of them and then getting defensive and not wanting to do anything. That's really
same problem we got.
Right. It's like,
that's the most eloquent way I've heard it put yet.
We take care of this. Excellent. And then, hey, well, I'm looking for X. And then it's like, you get a come and get me number. And you're like, well, no, I mean, we need this. No, we no interest. But it's a little bit like whack-a-mole. And if you're out there every day, you know what I like to say, Charles, bid a lot, buy a little.
Yeah, it works, especially in markets like this.
My favorite sayings: BCBB, be cheap, be busy, and ABB, always be bidding.
Oh man!
Hey, Mr. Miyagi.
But it's true. I mean, I got no quarter on 2x6 12s in the South, in Pine. It's not in the window. Hey, I know I have these.
But then tomorrow, some other guy will have it. Somebody else will have it tomorrow.
Well, and then, hey, I know I have these 10 trucks and you only called 3 of them ready and they're a week and a half late. I need some other stuff at this other mill. You want to look at it, a week and a half out. No, we can't do that. I mean, I only got 1 truck over there. That's the only inventory I got. And but that's the problem, right? I mean, that's the problem. I feel like, and I had a conversation this morning, hope and see, or we'll see, or this sense of hope and deliverance that we have in this industry is mind-boggling, right? Instead of market participants actually playing the game with the cards that are in front of them, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. But we don't attack the chessboard with the pieces that are on the table. We wait for somebody else to do something wrong. And I don't understand it. It's crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
Where do
thinking
you
about
want
what
to
you
go,
guys.
Ash? Where do you want to go?
No, I was just thinking about a bunch of the inquiry I had this week. Um, what people looking for multiple trucks, and either they only bought one or didn't buy any. And when I followed up and said, "What are you doing?" They're like, "My customer is waiting to see if things will get better in the next few weeks." And I mean, what do you mean better, cheaper in the next few weeks? So my advice to people that think that is, it could. Let's handicap this. Are you going to be able to buy $20 to $50 on spruce items under the best prices you're getting today? I'm not even saying print prices in 14 days from now.
Probably not.
That's my feeling on most items.
Like I look at right now is you can probably be patient and you don't have to quote unquote pay up for anything. But buyers, if you're in distribution or you're an end user that, is typically more comfortable. Obviously, we know there's certain end users that, they're going to stay in their window of, hey, this is the number of days and we're not going to build. But if you have if you have some latitude there, over the next 30 to 45 days, you should be willing to buy especially all your A items in quantity. And I mean, if you buy something, today and 10 days, 2 weeks from now, you can buy it $10 or $15 cheaper. Well, you're going to buy it again, but because you're probably not going to buy it 40 or 50, to your point, Ash, lower.
Yeah, that's what I was getting the sense. People that were unable to pull the trigger that were saying the same thing 3 weeks ago, when you could throw any number on it, are, it's that typical thing when you miss a stock or something like that, you wait for it to go back to its all-time low. That's generally a fool's errand trying to do that in this market right now, in my opinion. What about pine, Charles? You think? I mean, I don't know if it can get much cheaper on some stuff. It can, but I mean, you're kind of bouncing along the bottom.
Everything. I mean, Greg hit the nail on the head. I mean, at these levels, all the prices compress. I mean, everything's within $10 of each other, right? I mean, 8-inch kind of led the way down a couple months ago, and 12-inch has done nothing all year. And it's just a matter of time that everything did what it did, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we can all look at a chart and look at the left side of the chart and be a professional, but it's all on the right side that matters, because nobody's got a crystal ball. You just got to be prepared. You got to figure out what your plan of attack is and what fits your business, and make educated decisions on that. Because $10 is not going to make or break a deal on some of this stuff long term, right?
Yeah.
And when I say long term, I mean over 6 months. Right?
Charles, are any of the Southern Pine producers, any of them willing to go out and throw fixed numbers on anything right now, even at premiums?
I mean, yeah, but their premiums, you can't even like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody do something at a price, but
it's worse than a come and get me number. Yeah.
What's going on in 2x4 and 2x6 9-foot Southern Yellow Pine number 2 studs?
I mean, those prices have compressed. I mean, 4-inch is still a little bit of a premium to 6-inch, but it's not horrible. Usually there's a $30 to $40 spread.
And they're all sub 400s delivered pretty much everywhere.
No.
Sub
400 delivered?
Sub 400 delivered? No.
You're probably, I mean, I don't know.
I just throwing that out to freak people out.
We need to put that behind a paywall, Greg. I'll answer that question. How about this? I'll answer those questions. Hey, you know how I was beating around the bush?
It all depends on where you're going, right? I mean, you can get sub 400 delivered in the places in the Southeast, can't you? I mean, once you get up north by you're probably in the the low
Birmingham, Lower Alabama, Panhandle. I mean, yeah, maybe on 6-inch, but it's few and far between. Now, a couple of weeks ago, it was pretty prolific. 4-inch has not gotten that low.
Maybe more like the 420 to 440 ish, something like that. Yeah. I mean, That's still.
But hey, you know what the good thing about this paywall though?
Spruce.
You know what the good thing about this paywall is I won't feel so guilty about actually answering your questions. I won't tap dance around them so much.
Really? Oh, okay. So this is going to be a benefit for me, is what you're saying.
I mean, maybe, who knows?
Okay. I always try and get you. I'm always trying to peel the onion back with you, brother.
The last time I was on the podcast, you're like, damn it, Charles, give me a straight answer. I don't just
Yeah, I felt like we were asking an insurance salesman questions about, like, my wife doesn't want to buy this. And
all right, hey Ash, are we gonna read Matt's request? I feel like we need to, don't you?
Sure.
I mean, no, I'm asking you, right? I can't find it.
I mean, I'll read it. Ash, you read it. You have a better voice than I do.
I mean, it was maybe it's a little too political for the show.
I try not to put too much politics in this, because every time I do, I get I think
I feel I'm the same way.
I think the term should be, let's just be good to each other. There we go.
There you go. Okay, that's summarizing what Matt sent you. Yes.
Yeah, and that's pretty easy to do, but hard to accomplish sometimes. All right, well, let's wrap it up. So what we got the Fed rate decision here in a little bit. I'm not going to read much into that. And anything anybody else has got to finish the week?
Well, I think we'll bring back Mary Date Dump for next week behind the paywall, right?
Yeah.
And I think next week we'll have we'll try and get the production numbers year to date, so we can kind of look at some hard data on that.
Yeah, for sure.
You're gonna put it in layman's terms instead of economists speak?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll treat you like your Labrador.
Yeah.
Perfect. You need a friend, get a dog, Greg.